Good afternoon, everyone. Can you please find a seat and turn off your phones? We are meeting here today for the remembrance and funeral service of Harry Smith. Although he was predeceased by his loving wife Marion in 2014, he will live to carry on his legacy of life with Tempest and Troy Crown, his daughter and son-in-law, Adrian and Craig Smith, his oldest son and son-in-law, Christian and Mabel Smith, his son and daughter-in-law, and Eric Smith, his youngest son. His loving parents, Nick and Shelley Smith, and his grandchildren, Zale, Dylan, Kai, and Fletcher. This is the eulogy for the Honorable Harold George Smith. We gather here today to honor and remember a man of great wisdom, integrity, and quiet strength, Harry Smith. He was a husband, a father, a friend, and a judge, and later in life, a fisherman of the deep. And for many years, he sat on the High Court bench, weighing the scales of justice with a steady hand and a fair mind. He dedicated his life to the law, not for prestige or power, but because he believed in the pursuit of truth. He carried the heavy responsibility of justice with dignity, but never losing sight of the people behind the cases, their struggles, their hopes, their humanity. But beyond the courtroom, he was a man of deep emotion and devotion. When his beloved wife Marion passed, the loss left a silence in his life that no words could fill. And yet, rather than be consumed by grief, he found a solace where the sky met the sea. He took up deep sea fishing, not just as a pastime, but as a way to connect with nature, with himself, and perhaps in some quiet way with her. Out on the water, he found a new kind of peace. He traded the weight of legal tombs for the pull of the tide, the echo of the courtroom for the call of the waves. And he would often say that the sea had its own kind of justice, unpredictable, relentless, yet always honest. To those who knew him, he remained the same steadfast man, principled, warm, and full of quiet humor. Whether he was reeling in a marlin or sharing stories over a cup of coffee at the dock, he lived his later life with a sense of freedom and fulfillment that inspired us all. Today, as we say goodbye, we picture him not in the solemn robes of a judge, but standing at the bow of his boat, looking out at the endless horizon, the wind in his hair, and the sea stretching out before him. He is at peace now, with the tide carrying him home. Rest well, Harry. You are loved, and you will be missed. We will now have a reading by Jenny Spikes, a longtime friend of the family, and she will read The Master Speed by Robert Frost. Please come to the front, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. Yes, may Harry meet again with Marion in the high winds of heaven. We will now have a few words of tribute from Harry's best mates. Please come to the front. Franco Broncos, Johnny Loom, and Eric Smith. Franco? Johnny Loom? Eric Smith. Thank you to each of you for those great words of remembrance of Harry. I see a lot of nodding heads, so truer words could not have been spoken. The picture we see here today is from last year on Father's Day. A barbecue of fresh caught marlin, the spring air fresh with the sea breeze, and the high spirits of having his whole family together to celebrate fatherhood. That day will live on in the minds and hearts of Harry's 4 children and his grandchildren, Zale, Dylan, Kai, and Fletcher. Today will live on in the minds and hearts of all who are here today. Harry Smith, keep his name on your lips, his life in your stories, and his memory in your heart. Immediately following the service, we ask that you join Harry's family and friends at the gravesite at Holy Cemetery of the Seas in Morton Avenue. We will then reconvene at the Surf Life-Saving Events Room at Holly Beach in Redhead Street immediately following the interment. Here lies the Honourable Harold George Smith. Harry to his family and friends, not long from the sea, where the sun shone bright and the wind blew sweet. We say our final goodbye to you now. May you rest in peace. May you know how much we loved you. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Rest in peace.